So Jadon Canady has been on the field for 2 Chiefs training camp practices, and somehow Chiefs Kingdom is already losing its mind.
Serious news out of Chiefs camp today. Eric Bieniemy has had to leave the team. His wife Mia was shot multiple times at their Virginia home, and here's what we know and where things stand right now. Their son, he's been arrested and held without bond. But Andy Reid said that Mia is in stable condition, and that's a good thing. And so Eric Bieniemy is right where he should be right now. He's with his family back in Virginia. Our thoughts and prayers, they're with the entire Bieniemy family right now. For Bieniemy, football can wait. And for Mia, we're wishing her a full and fast recovery.
So Jadon Canady has been on the field for 2 Chiefs training camp practices, and somehow Chiefs Kingdom is already losing its mind. An interception, multiple passes broken up, a rookie 4th-round pick flying around the secondary and making his name impossible to miss. But if you think this story is about just one interception, you're missing the most important part. Because the veteran roster hasn't even been brought into this competition yet. The pads aren't on. Canady has not won that nickel job yet, and he's not proven he's ready to cover the best receivers in the NFL. But he has already done the one thing every rookie must do to make any of this possible. He's earned our attention, and after studying what Canady did at Oregon, what he's shown during his first 2 practices, and the opening sitting in front of him, I think the next stage of this competition could become one of the biggest stories of Chiefs camp, which is a lot of pressure to place on a man after just 2 practices, so naturally Chiefs Kingdom handled it calmly and rationally. For almost 8 seconds, here's what actually happened. During the opening practice on Saturday, Canady reportedly broke up multiple passes and intercepted another. One of his better moments came against Patrick Mahomes. Canady recognized what was happening in the play, timed it correctly, and got his hand on the football. That's the play I care about more than the interception. Because the interception looked great. Canady climbed over a receiver, came away with the ball, but according to Nick Jacobs, our buddy over at KSHB, Canady probably would have been called for pass interference if officials had been working the practice. That doesn't mean the play was worthless. It showed the physical presence, aggression, and ball skills that made the Chiefs interested in Canady to begin with. But we also can't use a possible penalty as evidence that Canady is ready to dominate NFL receivers. The breakup against Mahomes tells us something more valuable. It shows recognition. It shows timing and confidence, and the ability to challenge the football without panicking against the best quarterback on the field. That's a much better foundation for this conversation. Canady continued to draw attention during the second practice, and ESPN reported that he spent much of his early camp working the nickel. That's where this begins to move beyond a couple of exciting highlights, because the nickel is not some backup position that only matters when the Chiefs need an extra defensive back. The nickel defender is essentially a starter in the modern NFL. He has to cover receivers who can release in either direction. He has to communicate with the safeties and outside corners. He has to recognize route combinations, and he may be asked to blitz. Well, with Spags, he's going to be asked to blitz. He has to tackle running backs and receivers in space. And when the offense changes formations or uses motion, the nickel often has to process all of that information immediately. Steve Spagnuolo is not going to put a player there simply because he made a diving interception during the first weekend of camp. He has to trust him. And Canady's entire rookie season may come down to whether he can earn that trust. And real quick, if you're enjoying our training camp coverage, hit that like button and help us get this video to 600 likes. Also hit hype. Let's see if we can get 25,000. So this next part is where Canady becomes much more interesting than the average 4th-round pick. Kansas City selected him with the 109th overall pick after he spent the 2025 season at Oregon. He played in all 15 games and made 13 starts at nickel. So the position the Chiefs are asking him to learn, it's not foreign to him. Canady finished the season with 39 tackles, 2 interceptions, 6 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. He was also an all Big Ten honorable mention. But the deeper coverage numbers, that's what really caught my attention. He was targeted 37 times and allowed only 17 completions for 104 yards and 1 touchdown. He also intercepted 2 passes, broke up 4, and held opposing quarterbacks to a passer rating of 39.4 when they targeted him. That doesn't guarantee anything at the NFL level, but it explains why this doesn't feel like a completely random camp performance. The instincts we're seeing were on his college tape. The ball production was there. The versatility he has was there. And most importantly, the experience inside was there. This is where the story takes a fun turn. The interception isn't the reason Canady could play early. His versatility is. Canady told reporters during rookie minicamp that he's comfortable playing outside or in the nickel, and that he's willing to be used however Spags wants to use him. That matters in this defense. Spags loves defensive backs who can fill more than one role because it allows him to disguise what the defense is doing before the snap. A player can line up over the slot one play, move on deeper on another, and come downhill as a blitzer on the next. Canady's not Trent McDuffie, and nobody should place that expectation on him. But the Chiefs clearly saw some of the same position flexibility that's made McDuffie so valuable. And Canady has a chance to benefit from a change in secondary. Kansas City traded McDuffie away before the draft, creating a massive hole in both production and versatility. They used the 6th overall pick on Mansour Delane, but Delane projects as a major part of the outside cornerback picture. Canady has a different path to take. His clearest opportunity may be inside, where the Chiefs are still sorting through the several possibilities. Kader Kohou has real NFL experience and has started games in this league. L'Jarius Sneed has played inside before and gives Spags plenty of options. Christian Roland Wallace has experience in this defense as well, and other defensive backs can also move around depending on the package. Canady's not ahead of all those veterans because of 2 rookie practices. In reality, he's not truly competed with them at all. The first 3 practices feature quarterbacks, rookies, and select veterans. The full team doesn't practice together until this coming Wednesday. That distinction is extremely important. Canady's currently making plays against the competition that's available to him, and that's exactly what he should be doing. But the difficulty level is about to crank up a bit. Rashee Rice will test his physicality and patience. Xavier Worthy, he'll test his speed and discipline. Tyquan Thornton, he can stretch the field. Jalen Royals and Cyrus Allen, they're going to challenge him with their own strengths. And once Canady begins facing veteran receivers consistently, he won't be able to survive on aggression alone. NFL receivers know how to use that aggression against a young corner. They'll change the tempo of their routes. They'll sell one break and make another. They'll attack his leverage. They'll create contact and make it look like the defender caused it. That possible pass interference on Saturday, that's the perfect example of the line Canady must learn to walk. His physicality is one of the reasons people are excited about him, but that physicality has to become controlled aggression. If he learns when to attack and when to trust his positioning, he has a chance to become extremely annoying for opposing receivers. However, if he grabs whenever he feels himself losing position, NFL quarterbacks are going to pick on him a bit. That's why the next several practices matter much more than the first 2. Real quick, guys, if you're new to the channel and you love daily Chiefs coverage, subscribe and help us reach 100,000 subscribers. We'd appreciate it. Canady's next test isn't another interception. It's how he responds when the veterans arrive to camp. Can he continue breaking on routes when Mahomes is throwing to experienced wide receivers? Can he stay connected without becoming too physical? Can he fit the run from the slot? Can he communicate when the offense begins using more motion and more complicated formations? And maybe, most importantly, can he recover after he gets beaten? Because it's going to happen. Worthy is going to create some separation from him at some point.
Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring tonight's episode. Let's jump right in and do some entries. We're going to go a little off the beaten path and go to NFL kickers. We're going to start out with the Chiefs' own Harrison Butker, 2026 regular season field goals, 28.5 field goals made. We're going to go more. This is a bounce back year for Harrison Butker. Right next to him, we're going to go Dicker the kicker, 31.5 field goals made. We're going to go more on that one as well. Let's come down here and go to Jason Myers, Seattle Seahawks, trying to repeat as Super Bowl champs. Not going to happen because the Chiefs are still in the NFL. 30.5 season field goals made. I'm going to go ahead and say more on that too. And we're going to go ahead and lock this in. Right now, you can go down to the description, find the link, use code HMA, and the new offer right now Prize Picks is running is play $5, get $150 if you win your first lineup. And now, back to the show.
Rice is going to win a physical rep. Mahomes is going to move him with his eyes, and then he's going to throw the ball somewhere Jadon's not expecting it to go. That won't mean that the hype is fake. The responses will tell us more than the loss. Young cornerbacks, they need a short memory. Canady's played with confidence during his first 2 practices because things have gone very well for him. Eventually, we're going to find out whether that confidence remains when things don't go well. That's the true evaluation. It's also why I'm excited about him without being ready to crown him. Canady doesn't need to win this starting nickel job this week. He doesn't need to become the next great Brett Veach day 3 defensive back before the first preseason game. He needs to keep earning better competition. First, make plays against the rookies like he's been doing. Then earn more work against the veterans later in camp. Then you can show how you handle the padded practices. Take that into the preseason games when quarterbacks can actually throw at you, receivers are finishing their routes, and penalties count. That's how a camp story becomes a real role. And right now, Canady's completed the first step about as well as anyone could have expected him to. He's given the coaching staff a reason to continue testing him. That's the real story from these first 2 days. Not that Jadon Canady has won anything, not that Kader Kohu or any other veteran should be worried about losing his job after one weekend, and certainly not that Canady is ready to replace someone like Trent McDuffie. The story is that a 4th-round rookie entered camp with an opportunity, immediately showed his instincts, physicality, and ball skills that were on his college tape, and made sure his name stayed in the conversation when the real competition begins. Now he has to prove it wasn't just rookie weekend noise. If Canady continues to make plays once the veterans arrive, are you ready to give him the first shot at nickel? Or should the Chiefs begin the season with a veteran in that position? And when the pads come on, which matters more to you? Another interception or seeing Canady consistently cover and tackle without committing penalties? Jadon Canady has given Chiefs Kingdom a reason to watch him. So we're all going to do just that. Now let's see how he performs against better competition with all eyes on him. Recently, we talked about Patrick Mahomes revealing his game plan for this coming season and how he might be the best version of himself we've ever seen. Check out that video right here, and we'll see you there.